What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, the Puerto Rican Conservative. And as everybody knows, last week, December of 2018, Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to 8 felony charges. And on his way down, Michael Cohen, of course, implicated Donald Trump, stating that Donald Trump was fully aware of the illegal transaction between Michael Cohen, Stephanie Clifford, aka Stormy Daniels, and Karen McDougal. Now, according to the source right here, Trump was implicated in felony charges for violation of campaign finance law. Whenever your attorney is being investigated, of course, the feds can utilize your lawyer in order to prosecute you. Now, later on during this video, I'll make a connection between everything else that's going on as far as all of the United States. Now, the question is this, because what they're stating is that the only thing they really need is for Michael Cohen. The only thing that they really need is Michael Cohen's testimony that Donald Trump did know and was fully aware that his transaction with Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal were illegal. Now, over here, as you can see, Trump goes on an interview for CBS, ABC, CNN, all of the left wing, of course, media, claiming that Donald Trump knew that the hush money was wrong. Now, according to him, Michael Cohen claimed in an interview, of course, Trump knew it was wrong to arrange hush money payments to women, whom had claimed, of course, that Donald Trump had an affair way before the presidential election. So this has absolutely nothing to do with trying to hide something that happened or occurred during the presidential affair, but instead what they're trying to imply is that Donald Trump or Michael Cohen was trying to prevent information from coming out in order to influence the election. It's all a matter of semantics, because if you look at it, who was trying to alter the elections? Was it Donald Trump and Michael Cohen, because they were trying to protect themselves from women who chose to at no other point in time come forward and bring this information to the public, but instead chose to come out with this information only after they realized Donald Trump was running for office? Now, as you can see here, the two people that were involved in this proclamation were Stormy Daniels, better known as Stephanie Clifford, and Playboy model Karen McDougal. Now, here's the problem with that claim that Michael Cohen is making. The fact that Donald Trump himself has stated that he had absolutely nothing to do with it, and the fact that Stormy Daniels herself ended up suing Donald Trump because the hush agreement, which she signed and which Michael Cohen signed, she deemed, and so did Michael Avenatti, deemed invalid because of the fact that it did not have Donald Trump's signature. So, as you can see here, adult film star Stormy Daniels sued President Donald Trump on Tuesday, alleging that he had never signed a non-disclosure agreement that his lawyer had arranged with her. The civil suit filed in Los Angeles Superior Court and obtained by NBC News alleges that her agreement not to disclose her intimate relationship with Trump is invalid because while both Daniels and Trump's attorney Michael Cohen signed it, Trump did not. So then, understanding this and understanding that historical materialism plays an important part in the information that we utilize to corroborate whether something is the truth or whether something is false, then we can ultimately conclude that not only is Donald Trump saying the truth, there's actual proof, because the non-disclosure agreement was not signed by Donald Trump. So therefore, the testimony of Michael Cohen can ultimately be said to be nothing more than the last pleas of an individual that saw his career and his life falling apart and decided that he was going to grab Donald Trump by the ankle and try to bring him down along with him. Now, Just in case you don't understand, ultimately, whose responsibility is it in accordance to law, in accordance to the bar association, and in accordance to our understanding of the roles that a lawyer, also known as a legal advisor, plays either for a government, a large company, or a private entity, or a brand name such as Trump. Well, they provide legal advice and services to the organization and its employers. Most legal advisors are former attorneys or advocates who want to go into a corporate environment. Now, understanding that it is not Donald Trump's duty or responsibility or obligation under law to know what the laws are and which laws are being broken in the process of what actions, but instead it was Michael Cohen who was hired as the legal advisor. Therefore, it was his responsibility and not Donald Trump's to understand whether or not this transaction was illegal and whether or not it was ethical to follow through with it, which he decided to do both. He decided to undermine law, Michael Cohen, and he also decided to, to basically be unethical and, okay, and then he's also guilty of legal malpractice, which basically describes negligence, because he was negligent in his representation of Donald Trump. He was negligent in carrying through and enforcing to a certain degree, at least following through with his own fiduciary duty and moral obligation. He breached his contract to Donald Trump, and he basically made the Bar Association look completely bad. Now, just in case you're wondering what would Michael Cohen have to benefit from this, let's take into account that since Donald Trump won the 2016 presidential election, there has been an obvious witch hunt launched against Donald Trump. And how can we tell this? We can tell this by ultimately just backtracking and looking at the amount of Trump staffers that have been, only because of their connection to Donald Trump's 2016 campaign, have been prosecuted, have been hunted down and found guilty of crimes that are not associated or related to the Trump-Russia collusion conspiracy theory. Now, first, let's remember Paul Manafort, Donald Trump's former campaign chairman. What was he convicted of? Even though he was implicated in the 2016 election, he was convicted of 8 charges of bank and tax fraud. What does this have anything to do with Trump-Russia collusion? It doesn't. This is what we call parallel constructions. And what parallel construction is that when you start off an investigation talking about, let's say, for example, Trump-Russia collusion, and then you utilize that one investigation as a pretext to then extend that one investigation and turn it into the tentacles of an investigative octopus, where you end up having 8 separate cases or utilizing the same pretext. 2016 Russia, Donald Trump collusion stories. Now, as you can see, then you have this fool right here, Michael Cohen, of course, who claimed that he was a Trump loyalist, that he would never betray Donald Trump. His wife ended up telling him, listen, if you don't throw Donald Trump under the bus, not only will you not be having sex until you finish this court case, but we're also going to leave you because, you're worthless as a man unless your woman tells you what to do and unless you listen to your wife under the pretext of family, doing everything for family. No, his wife told him what to do and he ran with it. If he would have been smart, he would have stood with Donald Trump. He would have stood on Donald Trump's side. And when everything fell apart for him, Donald Trump would have had the power to pardon him or to grant him clemency. And that's not what ended up happening, right? He ended up betraying Donald Trump. Let's not forget Michael Flynn. Also, I have absolutely nothing more. So, look, we can look at the fact of the matter. And the fact of the matter is that Obama himself was also implicated, I believe, or maybe a little bit less. He got $375,000, and we don't know why he received this money for or what kind of lobbying he was expected to do with this money. This obviously represents something or someone that is trying to influence the election. But when we think about this, what happened here with Barack Obama, $375,000, as it says right there. $375,000. And you compare that to Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, and you're going to give a lawyer 3 years, and federal prosecutors are looking forward to pressing charges on the present president of the United States, which they cannot do constitutionally. They can't do anything until after Donald Trump is no longer sitting president. But then we got to ask ourselves this: with what purpose would they want to press charges on Donald Trump? And my conclusion is this: if you guys go ahead and you check out the doomsday clock, you notice that the doomsday clock was actually moved up to 2.5 minutes to midnight after Donald Trump was inaugurated as president, right? Let me go ahead and put doomsday clock. There we go. See, even the Washington Post reported it. The doomsday clock just moved up to 2.5 minutes to midnight thanks to Donald Trump. Midnight representing a man-made, keyword, man-made global catastrophe. Now, who dictates how far up the clock is moved up? The Board of Atomic Scientists, as it says right there on the top. And they somehow dictated or decided that Donald Trump coming into power was more dangerous. Check this out. More dangerous than doomsday clock real quick, because I want to finish this. Now, if you notice right here, the doomsday clock is a symbol which represents the likelihood of a man-made global catastrophe, maintained since 1947 by the Board of the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, Science and Security Board. The clock represents an analogy for the threat of global nuclear war. Since 2017, it has also reflected climate change and new developments in life sciences and technology that could inflict irrevocable harm to humanity. Now, if you notice right here, it states in 1947 it was 7 minutes to midnight. It has been set backward and forward 23 times since then. The smallest ever number minutes or closest to midnight are in 1953, like I said, which was during the testing of the hydrogen bombs by the Soviet Union, which brought us closer to another third war as ever. And then in 2018, when Donald Trump installed a sense of nationalism and the birth of Brexit, and nationalism in France and nationalism in all throughout Europe, Poland, England, everywhere. Now, let's see if I can find something more specific. So basically, what if I told you that the reason all this is going on is because they want to usher in the next world war. Think about what's going on. Most of our South and Central American neighbors are now all of a sudden becoming socialists. We have people coming to our borders, disregarding our national interests, disregarding the fact that we're a sovereign country. There you go. Look at it right here. Look. 2017, why was the doomsday clock moved up? Modernization of nuclear weapons worldwide, climate change, cyber attacks, comments by Donald Trump on expanding the U.S. nuclear arsenal, climate change, discounting experts on international security. And this is and here we go. And in 1953, why was it also moved up to midnight? Because the Soviet Union, like I said before, was testing out hydrogen bombs. Then wouldn't it then make sense that what is going on here is that they want to put Donald Trump in jail in order to entice a civil war in America between the blue and the red. And then once the war between the blue and the red ends, then they can usher in a new movement for a one world political party known as the Purple Party. And I'm going to show you that we're already being targeted. Venezuela just recently received bombers from Russia. T-160 bombers was sent to Venezuela by Russia. Look, Russia's strategic bombers in Venezuela pose no threat to Colombia. Assures we're not worried about Colombia, but why Russia nuclear bombers are in Venezuela? Now, let me tell you, because I wanna show you guys something. Now, according to the news articles that I've read, these T-160 bombers, T-160, have a range of around 3,400 miles or so. Let's see if we could okay, here it is. So it says right here, the Tu-160 has a range of 8,699 miles. Not only that, but they have the ability to carry nuclear-tipped bombs. Right? Now, as you see in here, right here, because it says it right there, the range is 8,699 miles. As everybody knows, Venezuela, Nicaragua, all those countries are turning socialist, including Bolivia, and Mexico is on the verge as well. Now check this out. How far is Venezuela from the United States? Less than 2,799 miles away. So you understand what is going on? What is going on is that we're being strategically, through diplomacy, we're being passively cornered to the point where America's not going to be able to do anything, because we're going to be facing war in so many different forms. Physical war with South and Central America. If we don't have that wall up, is going to happen. We're going to have war coming in from China and Japan and North Korea, because ultimately their benefit is with one another. If you take into account that they've been trying to establish the Silk Road, the Golden Silk Road. See, a lot of people don't know about this. Here it is right here. The Golden Silk Road is going to be a superstructure that is being created in order to control trade. Look at this. The main routes of the Silk Road encompass China, go through India, Persia, goes in through Africa and Europe and Egypt, and then goes straight into Europe. Do you know what that basically means? What it basically means that it's more convenient for China, who's already working on the structure, to through there be able to travel. Tells you right there, trade on the road. Let's see if we can find it. China's new Silk Road to make a big move in gold. Look, it's telling you right there, bro. I'm telling you, yo, they're just bombarding us. They're just bombarding us. We're going to be facing a civil war. We're going to be facing a major war, the next third war. We're going to be facing an economic war. We're already facing an ideological war where they're implementing ideological subversion on us. Destroying or at least restructuring the ideas that America as a supranationalist continental power is big. I'm going to let you guys hear. With this, when the Soviets used the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it? It's the process which is legitimate, legitimate, over and open. You can see it with your own eyes. But what does it mean? It basically means it's the process of restructuring people's ideas of right and wrong. In the same way that today, people are being convinced that abortion, infanticide, filicide, etc., is all right. It's all in the name of what? Pro-choice. Now that is a great example of ideological subversion. With that being stated, everybody stay safe and stay informed. Always.